Call, please.
Mr. Benier,
Present.
Mr. Brackbill,
Here.
Ms. Cleaton,
Here.
Ms. Stan,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Present.
Ms. McKean is excused, Ms. Purnell,
Here.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Here.
Ms. Tosti Vasey, Mr. Larson,
Here.
and Mayor Johnson is excused.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Next is additions to the council meeting agenda. Do we have any members that would like to add something to the agenda? If not, we'll move on to public comment. This is the time, if there's anyone here at the meeting that would like to make a public comment, we ask that you come to the podium and state your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Any public comment? No? No? Okay. Right. Should we do that next? Right, that's okay. We'll do that as soon as. Any public comment from Borough Council members? Any comments at all? Okay. Okay, next is the Bellefonte Area Rotary Club presentation for the Governor's Park restroom renovations. Kathleen and Janet. Oh, there's Ms. McKean. First of all, we'd like to thank you folks for everything that you do for the Bellefonte Borough Council and community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We're here to give $30,000 to the Governor's Park restroom renovation. This money is raised from the Bellefonte Children's Fair. So this is numerous years of Children's Fair revenue that we've fundraised for. So we're happy to hand that over to you guys.
All right, awesome.
Okay,
Doug and Barb, want to come up with me and accept this check so we can get a photo? Vice President and
Kathleen and Janet.
thank you guys. I'm Kent Bernier, Borough Council President. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that confusing.
No, that's okay.
This is Doug Johnson and Barbara Dan. She's the Vice President. Thank you, guys.
Let's make it more of a photo. We can the Bellefonte logo behind it.
Okay, sure. So we used to be the Bellefonte Sunrise Rotary Club. As of today, we are now the Bellefonte Area Rotary Club because we have merged with the Pleasant Gap Rotary Club. So we'll be continue to serve Bellefonte, but we'll also be serving the Pleasant Gap area as well. So our club is growing, and we're always welcome to new members. So thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Next is communication, written. First item is the Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority Summer 2024 newsletter that you all had in your packet. Is there anything additional, Ralph?
There is one about the Hometown Hero banner application deadline. It's approaching. It's the end of July. You can get an application on our website, or at the train station, or at Historic Bellefonte Incorporated's website, or you can, Bellefonte Hometown Hero Facebook page. Again, that's the Hometown Hero banner application. It's due by the end of July if you're interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Any other communications? All right. The next item is the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon by one single motion. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make
So
that.
moved, Brackbill?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
I'd like to remove the budget versus actual for question.
Made,
The summary or the May?
Action, the detail.
so that's the first one.
Okay.
Do we have to remove it, or can we just have the question asked? If it's just a question and we're not changing anything, what's your question?
Well, okay, the question is, in the future, could we have, sorry, in the future, could we have an additional report created that shows how much revenue from previous budgets was used to pay for expenses that occurred during this budget year? This report would include the amount net after payout of this excess revenue from previous years. I think it would make it easier to understand what is going on with the budget. For example, in this report, there's one line that states there's an overage that occurred in the mayor's part, and Lori said that it was paid with donations made to the borough from previous years. And I think that if we knew what kind of monies we're talking about, it would make it much easier to understand the budget. So, for example, you could have something like donations available from the prior budget years is X amount of dollars. The funds that were used for the donations was this amount, and this is the remaining donation funds we have for future use. I think it would just make it much easier for us to understand what's going on when something looks funny to us, or weird, or whatever. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Along those same lines, does anybody, or can anybody explain what that was, that mayor's expense?
I cannot. Joanne asked a question by email, and Lori was out last week. So by the next meeting, or within a couple of days, I know she'll probably return the email. But we'll have an answer in the packet for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so I had a motion and a second to approve it. We had a question that we'll consider. How can we vote to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton?
Yes.
Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you. Next is reports. Mayor is not here, so we move to our junior council member, Mr. Larson.
I just want to use my time to let council know that I've been working with Julie to discuss some opportunities of some tours of like some of the facilities Bellefonte has to offer, and even some like projects that I can complete. So I just want to let you guys know.
Thank you. Awesome. Good job. Ms. Thompson's not here. Officer Whitmer is here. Was there anything that you would like to say? You don't have to. I'm just asking. You don't have anything? Okay. Any other reports? There's nobody else here, so that's good. Everything else was submitted. Next is our current and old business. First item is the CGTV put out an announcement for an engineering firm to design the suspension bridge renovation. After being reviewed by the staff, a motion is recommended. A motion and a second to select Barton and Logidice to perform the service, as they scored a 99.5 out of 100 on the selecting criteria. That's pretty good.
So moved. I'll second
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Dan?
All right, Mr. Bernier.
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton.
Yes.
Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Purnell.
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is the water service line inventory information has been added to the Bellefonte.net website. The water service line inventory is due to PADEP no later than October 16th. It would be helpful if customers sent in a picture of their water service line where it comes through the wall into their structure. More information can be found on the borough's website. Is that homes that were built before a certain time?
Yes, the council president is asking about the timelines. In 1991, lead use in plumbing was banned across the state, maybe across the nation. I believe it was across the nation. So any houses built after 1991 are presumed to be lead-free in their plumbing, including the service lines, if the service lines were put in after 1991. So that's part of the review we are doing. So those folks out there, those customers on the Bellefonte system in particular, but really any water system after 1991, it's presumed you have no lead in your plumbing, so you would be okay. You don't have to worry about sending in a picture. We have to verify on our end based on documentation, even though that the house was built after 1991. The structure was built, the water line went in, that's what we have to do. But thanks, that's a very good question.
Okay, so that helps. Yes, Joanne?
I'm wondering about how we're going to try to make sure that all of the customers for the water authority are getting this. Last time we mentioned about putting it out on the utility bills.
Yes.
So my bill came this time. The next one's not going to be until October, and it's going to be right after that date. So is there something for the people who got their bills this month to have some kind of notice sent to them?
We just finished, I mentioned this at the last meeting, we just finished a notice that was required. There's only like a room for 1 or 2 lines on the bill. Up until the June billing, we were booked with this notice about our consumer confidence report. So that's done. The July bill, I understand, is going to go out about the middle of July. We've already told our billing administrator that please add this note about the service line inventory. So we bill in 3 groups. So there'll be July, August, September. On those 3 bills, you'll have a note. Now, in the meantime, we're still trying to get the word out. Just as I'm doing here this evening, we're going to try to get the word out. We added more information to our website. We're going to continue to try to get the word out through the social media outlets, the authority outlets, the council outlets, our website, so we're going to try to keep doing that. We might do a press release, a couple other ways to get the information out, but that's what we're working on.
Maybe a couple of radio spots or something might help. I don't know if that would cost anything, or that could be considered a community report, and maybe might be able to be free. You could check with the radio stations.
I'll pass that on to the authority. A lot of times if we do a press release, it's at least picked up at least by the news channels, if not the radio as well.
Could we use CNET for that as well?
Well, we're here on CNET. I mean,
know
we're
here
trying
now,
to.
but I'm just saying
Yes.
that's something that they could just put on their programming.
We cut the bulletin board years ago because of the expense, so we just have CNET cover our meetings. So again, this is as best we can do, but we'll try to keep something on the agenda to keep it in front of people.
All right, thank you. Before we move on to new business, I failed to mention that Ms. Purnell, Ms. Sedgwick, and myself attended the groundbreaking for the new elementary school a week or so ago, which was actually very neat, very interesting. The school board president and the superintendent spoke, and I'm not going to remember the facts that he spoke of about how old that school is and how long it's been there, but it was pretty interesting. But it was very successful. There were lots of people there. Lots of community members came out. They had school buses bussing people back, so it was pretty neat. Anyway, it was nice to see everybody there, so it was a huge success. Next is new business. There's one item here that is in front of council for a vote tonight, is consider canceling the second council meeting in August 19th. Previous councils have approved this as a summer break from the meeting schedule. I'll need a motion and a second to consider canceling the August 19th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion? I think I forgot to say that the last time.
How would we handle liaison reports, since those are typically the second meeting of every month? Just bump them to the first meeting in September?
Probably, we would do that, and then we would try to get the word out. That's one reason why it's on tonight's agenda. Like for HARB applicants, if we know that there's some in the wings, we try to get the word out that there would not be in August, the second meeting in August.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackville,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton,
Yes.
Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yep.
Thank you. That's it, unless anyone has anything else they'd like to say. Borough Council members,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.